All right, hello, my name is Mr. Whyzguy. We're gonna be watching Vice Debates, Asian Americans Debate Model Minority and Asian Hate. And yeah, so they said minority, so I'm gonna be watching this and throwing out my thoughts. You saw the title of this video, so I'm not gonna waste any more time and we're just gonna get straight into it. Enjoy this very short clip.
I think assimilation is not just a great thing, it's a necessary thing.
Huh.
No society can hold together where people have nothing in common, they don't speak the same language, they don't practice the same things. And you may look at something like just food habits or what you eat and think that's fairly frivolous, but the truth of the matter is that on a broader level, when we're talking about more big picture things, differences in race, culture, religion, all these things, people have fought wars, violent wars, killed each other over these things for thousands of years. If America is to hold together, assimilation, not just good or bad, necessary.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Because like, if you look at different, you got different countries, right? They got, like all the countries in the world, right? And we have all this war. That's because we don't believe in the same things or speak the same languages. But this world is filled with lots of war and stuff. And history, there's lots of war and stuff because people didn't believe the same things. People of different races and ethnic backgrounds ended up conquering other places that had different races and ethnic backgrounds and they would probably justify it in their own twisted way. And it's just filled, like our history is filled with war and stuff. So like you don't hear, like civil wars are a lot more rare than just wars of other countries just fighting each other. I think more countries fought each other than countries having internal fights within themselves. I think that's happened a lot more than on a general history going back in time base. I think people that think and like the same things have less conflict or prone to have less conflict because they already believe the same things. But people that don't believe the same things, they're gonna fight over very trivial things. Like we had the whole, like people back then killed other people because they had different types of spices. Now it seems kind of trivial now, but like I guess back then we didn't have this whole mass production complex thing that we have in technology, making all these things, making spices and stuff like super dirt cheap and easy to make, and there's just an overabundance of it. It was probably much harder to make those types of things back then. So I guess I understand why it was all these big wars over like spices and stuff. But still, I guess it is all in perspective. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be possible.
So basically, yeah, I agree with the guy in the tux.
For America to survive as a stable, functioning society if people don't, to some degree, say, well, here's what we're going to commonly agree upon.
But who gets to choose it?
The majority culture, I suppose.
This guy right here, he is the example. Like, what? Who gets to choose it? This is why assimilation is needed. Who gets to choose it? That's a really good question. It's a really good question. A lot of people in and I bet a lot of people in other countries would say the exact same thing. Okay, so who gets to choose the rules in the United Nations? Because like that's a bunch of nations that are connecting together. They're trying to assimilate, and I bet all of them are like, so who gets to choose the rules? Who gets to choose the rules? Really good question. That single question right there just shows you the conflict that you're gonna have when you don't have assimilation. Because if you all don't believe the same thing already, then just asking to people to assimilate is like saying, well, I have different views and stuff, so I'm not sure if I really want to. Why can't you believe my stuff? Why do we have to believe your stuff? That's where we get all the conflict. And that was the perfect example of why assimilation is necessary and why we don't have it today. Because if we did have it, he wouldn't have asked that question. He would have already known what we're gonna be. Well, then we wouldn't even have the problem. If we were already assimilated and stuff like that, or to a much higher degree than we are now. Like obviously can't have perfect assimilation. Like people can have their opinions, but the core beliefs that basically like don't steal people's stuff. I think that's a very deep core belief that, well, if if everyone doesn't believe that, will lead to like some sort of conflict, really bad conflict. But like, say if someone believes that the sky is blue versus the sky is a slightly darker shade of blue, or a slightly higher shade of blue, like those opinions don't really matter. They're not core. Like, we're not going to fight over whether the blue is a slightly higher shade of blue or not. I will definitely fight over if someone thinks that they should be able to steal and justify other stuff from other people, and a group that doesn't feel like we should be able to steal. I already mentioned that analogy, but I want to bring it up again. Like, it just makes sense. Okay, so you know what I think is kind of disrespectful? Going to someone, looking at them, looking at their stuff, and then leaving without saying anything. Yeah, that's a little bit disrespectful. So I think you should not do that, and leave a comment down below. Thank you.